President-elect Donald Trump suggested that he would consider military force to gain control of the Panama Canal and Greenland.
President-elect Donald Trump recently suggested the potential use of military force to regain control of the Panama Canal and Greenland, citing economic security concerns. Known for his bold and often controversial approach to American global leadership, Trump described these strategic regions as vital to the United States. His comments have heightened tensions, particularly with Panama and neighboring Mexico, and raised critical questions about U.S. foreign policy. Trump's statements represent a significant shift in diplomatic tone. During his inaugural address, he argued that the Panama Canal, transferred to Panama in 1999 after decades of U.S. control, was never meant to be theirs, and insisted it belongs to America. This assertion has reignited debates over sovereignty, historical context, and international treaties that finalized the canal's transfer. Supporters of Trump's stance argue that regaining control of the canal is vital for securing a critical economic and strategic hub in global trade, highlighting its role in connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Opponents, however, view this proposal as a dangerous revival of past U.S. interventions in Latin America, undermining Panama's sovereignty and long-standing diplomatic agreements. Adding to the controversy is the growing influence of Chinese firms near the canal, which has intensified geopolitical tensions. U.S. policymakers perceive China's expanding role as part of a broader strategy to challenge Western dominance in global trade. Meanwhile, Panama's government remains committed to upholding international treaties and emphasizes that the canal, which significantly contributes to the nation's economy, belongs to the Panamanian people. As the global community observes closely, Trump's position on the Panama Canal could redefine U.S. Panama relations and influence international geopolitics. With the future of this iconic waterway hanging in the balance, many wonder how far the U.S. might go to reassert control and what impact this could have on regional stability. For now, the debate continues to dominate headlines. The Panama Canal remains a symbol of national pride for Panama, transcending its role as a geopolitical asset. As tensions surrounding its control intensify, the world awaits a resolution. Will the canal continue to represent international cooperation, or will it become the focal point of a new geopolitical conflict? Time will reveal the outcome, but one certainty remains: the Panama Canal is a crucial factor in shaping global power dynamics. Panama Canal and U.S. Mexico relations. In recent years, U.S. Mexico relations have been marked by growing tensions, stemming from trade disputes and contentious security policies. Central to this dynamic is the Panama Canal, a vital global trade artery that also serves as a critical link between the U.S. and Mexico. With over 60% of canal traffic connected to U.S. Mexico trade, its importance extends beyond commerce, playing a pivotal role in economic and political strategies. Recent rhetoric from the Trump administration has suggested plans to reclaim control of the canal, framing it as a way to assert U.S. dominance over Mexico's trade routes. Such a move could have profound implications for Mexico, as the canal is essential for transporting agricultural and industrial goods critical to its export-driven economy. Trump's position aligns with a broader strategy of economic and geopolitical dominance, consistent with actions throughout his presidency. His administration frequently adopted aggressive policies, including threats of steep tariffs on Mexican goods, which placed considerable strain on Mexican businesses. Critics argue that these measures, while aimed at prioritizing U.S. interests, undermined regional partnerships and diplomatic relations. A volatile U.S. Mexico relationship. Mexican leaders have repeatedly advocated for collaboration over confrontation, focusing on addressing migration issues and cross-border challenges like drug trafficking. However, Trump's hardline policies, including increased border militarization and the renegotiation of NAFTA into the USMCA, exacerbated tensions. Critics contend that these policies disproportionately benefited the U.S. while deepening economic and political divides. Trump's inflammatory rhetoric on immigration, including controversial remarks about Mexican immigrants during his 2015 campaign, further strained bilateral relations and drew widespread criticism. Coupled with his administration's focus on reclaiming key economic channels like the Panama Canal, these actions reflected a broader vision of U.S. dominance extending into Mexico and beyond. Renaming the Gulf of Mexico, a symbolic flashpoint. One of the more controversial proposals from the Trump administration involved renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. This suggestion sparked outrage across Latin America, with leaders condemning it as imperialistic and dismissive of the region's shared cultural and historical heritage. Critics interpreted the move as another effort to reinforce U.S. supremacy, paralleling Trump's push to reclaim control of the Panama Canal. The backlash was immediate and widespread, with countries such as Brazil, Venezuela, and Cuba issuing strong condemnations of what they deemed a provocative and reckless proposal. Diplomatic tensions flared, further straining U.S. relations with Latin America during this period. Looking ahead. As discussions about the Panama Canal and U.S. Mexico relations continue, the stakes remain significant. Whether these developments lead to renewed collaboration or heightened geopolitical conflict is uncertain, but the global community is watching intently. Decisions made in this context will have profound and lasting effects on trade, diplomacy, and the balance of power in the Western Hemisphere. The proposal to rename the Gulf of Mexico was more than a symbolic change, it represented a shift in power dynamics. Historically, the Gulf has served as a neutral space fostering economic and cultural exchange. However, Trump's controversial suggestion risked turning it into a symbol of U.S. aggression. Latin American nations perceived the proposal as part of a broader American effort to dominate global trade routes and assert control over regional resources. Trump's ambition to claim the Gulf for the United States was part of his larger goal of establishing U.S. dominance in the Western Hemisphere. However, this approach came with significant costs. Beyond being a political symbol, the Gulf of Mexico serves as a vital hub for economic activity, environmental research, and cross-border cooperation. By seeking exclusive control, Trump risked damaging international relationships and undermining progress in shared maritime governance. Escalating tensions. The controversy surrounding the Gulf of Mexico extended to broader regional issues. Reports emerged of Trump considering military action in Mexico to combat drug trafficking and the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. Allegations included orders for military strikes on drug labs, which were reportedly rejected by the military, and calls from allies like Senator Lindsey Graham to destroy cartel operations through direct intervention. Former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper revealed instances where Trump pushed for covert military actions in Mexico, including missile strikes and special forces operations targeting cartel leaders. Critics warned that such measures would violate Mexico's sovereignty, strain bilateral relations, and damage the U.S.'s global reputation. China's role in the power struggle. Amid U.S. Mexico tensions, China's growing influence in Panama added a new layer of complexity. With substantial investments in infrastructure projects such as ports, railways, and communication networks, China has established a foothold in the region. These developments signal a calculated challenge to U.S. dominance in one of the world's most strategic maritime corridors. The Panama Canal, historically a symbol of American influence, is now at the center of a geopolitical rivalry. Analysts speculate that China's investments could go beyond trade, potentially enabling a strategic military presence in the region. This possibility has heightened concerns in Washington and raised questions about Panama's sovereignty. Caught in the crossfire, Panama faces a delicate balancing act. Once proud of its independence, the nation risks becoming a battleground for competing global powers. The uncertainty surrounding these developments casts a long shadow over the region's future. Broader implications. These tensions have ignited debates about whether Panama can maintain its autonomy in global geopolitics, or if it will inevitably fall under the influence of a dominant superpower. As Trump's vision of reclaiming the canal meets Beijing's ambitions to expand its influence, the stakes for global trade and diplomacy have never been higher. China's increasing involvement complicates the situation further. While Trump views the canal as a means to restore U.S. dominance, Beijing sees it as an opportunity to challenge American influence. This rivalry raises critical questions. What if China establishes a permanent military presence in the region? Could this lead to direct confrontation with the U.S.? How will Mexico, already navigating its own diplomatic challenges, respond to shifting alliances? The lack of transparency surrounding these developments only deepens the uncertainty. Reports of clandestine deals, rumored military bases, and secret negotiations have added to the intrigue. For every revelation, more questions remain unanswered, heightening global tension. A pivotal moment. As Trump's bold plans unfold, the world watches closely. The Panama Canal is more than a critical trade route, it symbolizes power, control, and influence. With China and Mexico asserting their positions, the question remains, will the U.S. reassert its dominance, or will it be outmaneuvered by an emerging power with its own global ambitions? This unfolding geopolitical struggle will likely redefine not only the future of the Panama Canal but also the United States' influence in Latin America and beyond. The stakes are high, and this moment marks a turning point in international diplomacy.